Hello, my name is Esmeralda Pasqua, and today I will present to you two different case studies, two of which kind of aligned. The first one will be the 1916 Easter Rising, and the other will be the impact that Brexit would have on Northern Ireland. Both of these have current effects today. The 1916 Rising has effects in Dublin, all over Dublin, as we see, and then the impact of Brexit would have would be seen statewide. The Easter Rising happened in 1916. It was a week-long event. It was an attempt to revolt against British rule in Ireland. It was not their first attempt at independence, and there were roughly 500 casualties in the matter of a few days and over 2,000 injured. It was a failed attempt. The Republican side did end up surrendering, but this had a massive effect on the people of Dublin and of Ireland. Today, when you go and visit Ireland, you can still see how deep that connection that Dublin and its people have to the Easter Rising. You can see the statue of one of the great soldiers and politicians of the Easter Rising and of the making of the independence, Michael Collins, standing in the middle of the city. And you can still see, when we visited his grave, you can still see fresh flowers on his grave till this day. So that shows just how powerful one event, and it transcends generations. It's still present today. Before moving forward, the three pictures you saw, the first of the Epic Museum, which showed a large migrant history of Irish people traveling all over the world to different places and settling and creating lives for themselves. The second you see is the cemetery where Michael Collins is buried along with many other um, significant 1916 Easter Rising leaders. And then the third one, you see the statue of Michael Collins in the city center. The next case study that I will present to you is the one of Brexit and the political conflict that it could cause in Northern Ireland. As we move forward in history from the Easter Rising of 1996, we have to note that the troubles that happened in the late 1960s and lasted about 30 years, up until the late 1990s. This was a time which two sides were pitted against each other. They were living side by side, and after years of bombing and lives lost, the Good Friday Agreement was signed in 1998. The Good Friday Agreement, which allowed a new form of government to be created in an attempt to bring peace to the two opposing communities, which were Republicans and nationalists or loyalists. There have been ongoing current issues with the governing parties that make it difficult to still govern today and have a voice within Northern Ireland and the United Kingdom. This leads right into Brexit. If Brexit were to come into effect, many fear that the tensions of the not too far past could be brought up again and could be relived. When it comes to the topic of Brexit, many in the United Kingdom and at Westminster do not take into a fair consideration the conflict that would be caused if Brexit were to come into effect. It doesn't just apply to regulations and to trade, but also the two different sides of Northern Ireland, the Republicans and the Loyalists. The Loyalists who want to remain in the UK and which they separate and want to separate themselves from the EU, but many of the Republicans, which are on the opposite side, argue that it would set the work that they have been putting into restoring restoring the trust that they have in each other. To conclude the presentation, I just wanted to say that to move forward, it is not only important to recognize the present situation like Brexit, but also to understand and remember all the previous events that have led us to difficult times and led us to hardships and that have led us to where we are today, with building walls and still having a conflict amongst each other, in that hope that we have that we make better choices that improve the lives, not only our lives, but the lives of people around us. Also, I wanted to share just the last 4 images with you. The first will be the image of our Republican tour guide, with a picture of 2 bombings, or the Republican side of the bombings that happened during the Troubles, and following that you will see a short video on the Loyalist side of the wall that was built. And in the following picture, it's a picture of a gate, and this is their version of a Checkpoint Charlie. This is located in the heart of Belfast, between those 2 streets. And then lastly, you have the City Hall, the picture of the City Hall, in hopes that Ireland's government continues to move forward and make progressive steps towards unification.